are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here. This is Scott Earhart with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Over the next hour, I think you're going to see something that is really, really exciting in our industry, and we're really excited to bring it to you. The new Power Select Plus Income Multiplier that is, in my opinion, the industry leader in performance-based income. I have yet to be able to find anything that even comes close. In order to take a real in-depth look at this product from Market Synergy Group, we have Mr. Jared Anderson with us today. Jared, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hey, thank you so much for your time, Jared. Before I turn it over to Jared, we're going to go into a couple of intro slides and a few housekeeping items. So let's dive into that right now. First housekeeping item, our phone number. This is important. 800-255-5055. If there is anything that you see today that you'd like to have illustrated or you think has a place in your offering portfolio, give me a call. Or if there's anything we can be doing in general to help you grow your business in the life or fixed annuity markets, we'd certainly love that opportunity. Don't hesitate to use that phone number. Second housekeeping item, polling questions. I will launch 2 or 3 polling questions throughout the presentation today. If you would please take the time to participate in them. We certainly do appreciate that. Very simple, just yes or no answers. Helps us gauge what services you are interested in from IMES. And the final housekeeping item, questions. We're going to throw a lot of information at you here in a fairly short amount of time. Jared does a great job of being as transparent as can possibly be. So there may be questions. I'm sure there will be questions. Feel free to type them in. We'll do the best we can to address them while we are live and in session here. That being said, let's get into a couple of introductory slides. This is an awesome slide for those of you who are new to insurance agency marketing services, or if this is your first introduction to us here at IMES, you will qualify for the new producer bonus program. You can cash in at any one of these 3 levels, and as you can see at each level, we've got great cash rewards, personal perks, business building tools, all available to you. If you'd like more details on the program, or if you want to know where you stand for qualification, just let me know. We'd love to have that discussion. Top Producers Escape, absolutely one of my favorite things to talk about. Steve and Charles, our principals here at IMES, do a great job in rewarding our producers for your efforts. 2 million trip credits qualify. It will be in the Boulders Resort and Spa in 2018 in late February. Beautiful time to be there in Arizona. Jared and I have both been to this resort numerous times. It's a fantastic place, and we know you'll enjoy it. If you need to know where you stand for qualification, or if you want to talk about what we can be doing to help you get over the top of that 2 million trip credit threshold, just let me know. IMES Creative, got a lot of great things that we do with IMES Creative. We do have an in-house creative team. Josh is the head of our creative team here in office, and we can do everything for you from branding, building a brand with logos, business cards, stationery, things of that nature, all the way up to creation and deployment of television advertisements. And we're going to do it for you at a significantly more cost-effective pricing than what you'd get if you went to your local graphic design firm or PR firm. So if you are looking to increase your brand awareness or increase the scope of your marketing, give Josh a call here in our office. He'd love to chat with you about what we can do to help there. One of the things that we do have a lot of expertise in is newsletters. If you're not currently sending a newsletter to your clients and your prospective clients, I think you're missing the boat a little bit. And I think this can definitely be an outlet to help your phone ring a little more by keeping relevant information in front of your clients and prospects. So the next time that they need a service or a product that you provide, they don't think to call anyone other than you. For more information on how the newsletter system works, please give Josh a call or give anyone on our marketing staff a call. Life and Annuity Academy. Our next Life and Annuity Academy is coming up. It's in September. It will be here in Omaha, Nebraska at our office. We certainly do want to know if you're interested in attending. That being said, while I talk about the Life and Annuity Academy, I'm going to launch our first polling question of the day, just asking you if you'd like more information on it. If you click yes, it's not a commitment on your end to come. What it is a request for more information, and it will put you onto our interested parties list. So when we do open up the application process, you will be the first group notified. What we do in our Life and Annuity Academies is normally they're a Wednesday to a Friday. We'll fly in on a Wednesday, have an evening session, full day session on Thursday, a morning session on Friday, get you out of here on a plane, hopefully home in time for dinner. That being said, what we do in our Life and Annuity Academies are we definitely want to make it worth your while. We don't just want to do a product roadshow, so we want to bring you sales ideas, marketing strategies that are proven, and we also want to make sure you understand all the resources that are available to you from insurance agency marketing services. So in September, you'll meet myself, you'll meet Mark Raymakers, who's the head of our life department, Josh, the head of our creative team, Amber, the head of our new business. Of course, you'll meet our principals and managing directors, Steve Murray and Charles Hiring. You'll also meet Charles R. Hiring, who is the head of our RIA, IAMS Wealth Management. So a lot of experience and in-depth knowledge of what IAMS and IAMS Wealth Management can do to help you grow your business. We'll also bring in speakers from a few different carriers. I'm sure Jared will probably be one of those speakers, and what they're going to do is come in and highlight their product portfolio. But when we do bring them in, we ask that it's not just, here's my product, we're awesome. We want them to discuss with you the niches that they fill and where their products are strong, and also give you a sales idea that will help you place that product in your next presentation. Now, what I think is probably the best thing about our Life and Annuity Academies is we're going to bring in at least 4 of our sales coaches from throughout the country. And to be a sales coach at insurance agency marketing services, not only do you have to be able to talk the talk, but you must be able to walk the walk as well. So what that means is all of our sales coaches are the upper 1% of our industry. They're multiple time top producer escape qualifiers. As far as income goes, they are going to be in the upper 1% in the financial sector. And what they will do is show you exactly what they do in their daily practice that makes them so successful, and give you the ability to take that home with you and implement it in your practice. That being said, we're really excited about September, really excited to show off our new office here in Omaha. So if it's of interest to you, please click yes, and we will be closing down the poll here and moving on. Thank you to everyone that participated there. We do appreciate it. Next up on our introduction is paperless contracting. We all know the pain of adding in new carriers to your offerings. We can take all that pain away. We can do it for you all online, take away all the paper. We are on the Efficient Forms platform, and so are 95% of the carriers that we offer. AIG, American General, is definitely one of those carriers. So if you'd like to learn more about the paperless contracting system and how it can help you save time and be more efficient, give Chris Mount in our office a call. She's our licensing director. She knows this system inside and out. Our website, imsinc.com, we're constantly overhauling that, and we're constantly trying to make it more user-friendly for you and give you more tools to help you take advantage of everything that's out there. So we've got quote engines, we've got forms online, links to different aspects of our industry, carriers, trade magazines, all available to you out there. Product grids are available. So if you haven't gone out to imsinc.com and registered, please do so. We'd certainly love your feedback on the website as well. IAMS Wealth Management, one of our newest endeavors, and I don't want to get bogged down in the Department of Labor conversation, but we all know that June 9th is happening. 8424 is coming into place. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to be a registered rep, but it certainly wouldn't hurt. IMS Wealth is an advisor-centric RIA. What we mean by that is we're not going to put a lot of restrictions on you. Charles R. Hiring has done a great job in developing this. And basically, what does it mean to become a IAR? Well, it's going to increase your revenue because you're going to be able to provide managed money solutions. It's also going to improve your client retention. If you have had clients that have ever left you because they wanted to go to someone that can not only offer them an annuity or a life insurance policy, but may be able to help them with wealth management as well, you can certainly do that now and strengthen your existing relationships. Those clients that are good clients, but maybe they have a broker outside of you that manages their money, you can now have opportunity to chat with them about those funds as well. If you'd like to learn more about IMS Wealth and what IMS Wealth offers, just let us know. Charles and Mike are here in the office every day. They'd love to chat with you about what we can offer you there. We also do have great study programs. If you are not a registered rep but would like to consider it, we've got a great relationship with Kaplan, and we can certainly get you well on your way to obtaining your 65. Retirement Analyzer. As we enter into an era where client documentation, how you arrived at your recommendation are going to be more and more prevalent. Retirement Analyzer is a great tool. It's a holistic retirement analysis that shows your client exactly how long their money will last as it is currently allocated and how much of a better position they'll be in if they choose to do business with you and take advantage of a service or a product that you provide. Marcus Solar in our office is our guru of all things Retirement Analyzer. If you'd like to sign up for a free trial or just kind of get a demo on it, give Marcus a call. He'd love to walk you through it. My last slide before I hand it over to Jared, all I want to talk about for the next little bit is putting money back in your pocket. And we'll start on the right-hand side with marketing reimbursement. Rough numbers on marketing reimbursement. For every $100,000 in fixed indexed annuity premium you place through insurance agency marketing services, we'll put $200 into your marketing reimbursement account. What makes our marketing reimbursement system unique in the industry is we put very, very few restrictions on the marketing reimbursement account. You can use pretty much any vendor you'd like to use. As long as it's a business expense, we're going to accept it. And it's a great way for us to partner with you in growing your practice and let you know how much we do appreciate your business. So if you're not taking advantage of marketing reimbursement and you'd like to learn more about the program, just let me know. I can walk you through it in more detail. On the left-hand side is Referred Producer Program. Our business here on the wholesale end of the industry, really similar to yours out there in the field, in that one of the best leads we're ever going to obtain is a referral from one of our valued clients or you, our valued producers. So we want to make it worth your while. When you refer an individual over to us and they pick up a license with any of our carriers, we're going to send you a $50 thank you check. Now, where the real money comes in is as your referral rights business, you're going to get a 20 basis point override on that. We cut these checks at least quarterly. And I know Steve and Charles sign checks for thousands and thousands of dollars at a time. So it can be very, very lucrative. If there is an individual out there that you know and you think could benefit from doing business with insurance agency marketing services, please feel free to type their name into the questions box, any contact information you have, or feel free to shoot me an email with that information. My email address is scott@imsinc.com. I'll certainly do the best I can to get them recruited over here to IMS and get you involved in the Referred Producer Program. That being said, I'm going to hand control over to Jared, and we'll get in to the product here.
All right, give me just a second, buddy.
Sure.
Let me know if you can see my screen okay, Scotty.
Yep, I can see it great now. All yours, boss.
All right, well, thank you, Scott. Thank you all on the line for joining us. I know Scott mentioned we were going to go through some product information here and over the next 30, 45 minutes or so. We'll try and make this quick, understanding how busy you guys are. But I think we've got a pretty good opportunity to share with you some of the changes we made to our performance-based income rider and our product, the Power Select Plus Income. Also, I'll touch base a little bit towards the end on our safe accumulation product, the Builder, which happens to be our #1 selling product. But for the most part, what we want to focus on today is performance-based income and some of the recent changes that we made to simplify the process for this, and talk to you about the product that's out there and available for you. So, excuse me. So what I want to do first is just go over some statistics, which I think we're all pretty familiar with, but I think it's important to point this out. This is kind of where we got to where we are in regards to the design of this product and what we felt would be a strong solution for your product portfolio that you choose for your consumers on a daily basis. For a couple, both age 65, 25% chance that one spouse will live to age 97 and a 50% chance that one will live past age 93. So what we're pointing out here is the importance of income throughout the retirement. I mean, 25, 30, 40, 50 years ago, retirement lasted a lot less than what it does today. And due to people living longer and inflation, we feel like it's important to put a consumer in something that at least has the ability for them to keep up with equity inflation. When we look at life expectancy over the last 60 years or so, you can see the numbers have increased dramatically. In addition to that, people are retiring earlier, so we're seeing a longer time frame in which they have to have some source of an income. And again, going back to our design here, the ability to have increasing income seems to be something that would be fitting for them as well. Part of that reason is when we talk about what's going on with inflation, as you can see on this slide here, this one goes back to almost 100 years. Our long-term average is 3.22%. You know, obviously over the last 3 decades, it's been closer to 3%. But when we look at those numbers, it becomes very important that a consumer necessarily can't keep the same income at retirement that they would need 30 years from now. Here's a prime example of that. In today's dollar, $60,000, you would need $129,970 if history repeats itself over the next 30 years for $60,000 to do the same thing. I'm sorry, you would need $129,000 to do the same thing $60,000 does today. So again, focusing on the inflation as well as the opportunity to see an increase in income throughout the retirement is where the design of this product came. Okay, and when we throw in healthcare, CPI, the inflation number jumps up to closer to 5%. And some more statistics to share with you here: 65-year-old couple retiring is going to need around $250,000 in today's dollars to cover their medical expenses throughout retirement. So if we can again focus on providing them with an opportunity to see an increase in their retirement income, we think that's a win-win for them. Again, when we look at this slide here, it's important to point out what inflation will actually do to purchasing power. The number one GLWB, guaranteed income rider in the industry, for a 60-year-old deferring 5 years, pays almost $7,000 roughly. But as you can see, just through a 20-year process or to life expectancy for one of those individuals, that number's cutting about half as far as purchasing power goes, and we're trying to eliminate that and give you some sort of an opportunity to provide that consumer with something that will give them equity inflation. Okay, so that's when our product design for the Lifetime Income Plus Multiplier came into play, and we'll take a couple minutes and talk a little bit about that. So Scott mentioned to you earlier, you know, I'm a pretty blunt guy, and I'm going to tell you where our product fits best. It's important for me to make sure that you guys walk away from this, you guys and gals walk away from this knowing if a situation comes up where the AIG Market Synergy Group product would fit. Shorter deferrals is a real competitive area for us. In addition, and when I say shorter deferrals, that's anywhere from 0 to 5 years. We're still very competitive the longer you defer, but we'll go into why we here at Market Synergy don't necessarily think it makes sense to put a consumer into an income rider type of a product if they don't know when they're ready to take income. So again, going back to our ideas and our thought process, our design was to be most competitive in early income. But the multiplier is real simple. During the deferral stage, the consumer receives 200% of their credited interest rate. Once they start taking income, they get what we refer to as a paycheck increase, or 100%, and that's referred to the adjusted multiplier. So we'll keep it real simple here. Assuming the client receives a 4% credited interest rate to their annuity product, they, as mentioned before, during the deferral stage, they get twice that amount, or 200%. So a 4% credit results in an 8% credit to their income base. This is not for accumulation purposes. This is only for their income base. From an accumulation perspective, they would continue to get the 4% number, but we're beefing up their income base, giving them the opportunity to grow that number to give them a higher possibility for income. Okay, once we've elected income, it's very simple. We've just changed this as of May 22nd. This is an assumption of a 6% credited interest rate. That's what applies to their actual income amount. So taking a step back, assuming a consumer has $10,000 in income once they've elected to take income, that credited interest rate that they receive for that year is 6%. Their income now goes up to $10,600, and that's their income for life. That happens every single year. So if they get 6% in year one, 6% in year two, we see that number that they are being paid from the income rider increase by the same credited interest rate that they receive on their contract. Okay? So again, it's very simple. We call it paycheck increase. Whatever your credit is what your income goes up by. Just want to show you a couple quick examples of why we think this makes sense and where it's most competitive. When we refer to income, a lot of people will think of SPIAs or DIAs or anything along those lines, but what we've pointed out here is using the inflation-adjusted SPIA and comparing it to the multiplier hypothetical income numbers. Now, keep in mind, these SPIA numbers are obviously numbers that we know that are locked in. So another term that we throw around here is we're trying to get more for less, because the reality is if we wanted to try and match it, we're going to need pretty minimal returns in order to match what's taking place in this SPIA that I show you here. As you can see, most of them start at about the same level, somewhere around the $5,000 range, and the inflation-adjusted SPIA goes up to a little over $8,000. From a performance-based standpoint, utilizing the 2-year MLSB strategy, which is our volatility-controlled strategy, on a most recent illustration standpoint, that number jumps up to almost $12,300, so substantially more. And then more importantly, what we're trying to accomplish is cumulative cumulative income to life expectancy. Okay, so you can see here in this scenario, and again, taking a step back, this is a 65-year-old taking income immediately. But you can see in this scenario that from a cumulative perspective, we can offer them, from an illustrated standpoint, $182,000 compared to that levelized SPIA of $140 or an inflation-adjusted SPIA of $135. Using the unfavorable period, which is the worst 10-year history in our crediting strategy period, or our crediting strategies history, we're still at almost $17,000 more than what a level SPIA can pay, and $22,000 higher than inflation-adjusted. In addition to that, we threw in our S&P PAR strategy, and then on the far right, you can see our guarantee assuming zeros for the next 20 years on any of those crediting strategies. We also wanted to take a look, obviously, SPIAs aren't the only source of guaranteed income. Generally speaking, what we have found is that the guaranteed income game, if you will, is a spreadsheet game. So you call up to IMS or whatever organization it is that you're working with and say, I've got a 65-year-old that wants to take income immediately, who pays the highest? All of these organizations do a great job of providing you with that. As you can see here, the leading GLWB starts just a touch higher than what we would start in this scenario. And then we'll jump to the overall cumulative income there as well. If we select a guaranteed income product, we are guaranteed to life expectancy to receive $116,424. None of the numbers change for us as far as hypothetical performance-based income. And then you can see in the yellow bar chart there that we're still at $105,000 from a guaranteed income perspective. So basically, you're giving up an $11,000 guarantee for the opportunity to receive $182,000, $167,000, whatever it may be, cumulative. In order for us to match that leading GLWB, the highest guaranteed income in the industry, we would have to see about a 0.7% credit over the 20-year time frame in order to match that. So our expectation, our thought process is, we're all believers in these index annuities. We're all believers in these products and crediting strategies that apply to them. So we need to start focusing on taking this opportunity of performance-based income and believing in it the same way that we have in the past. Okay, again, not everybody's taking income immediately, so we've also shown you a 5-year deferral to take advantage of our 200% multiplier option. Again, you can see the numbers there. The leading GLWB for a 60-year-old deferring for 5 years is roughly $7,800. Okay, and then again, throwing in our performance-based numbers from a cumulative perspective, the leading GLWB would pay around $160,000 guaranteed. Our guarantee, again, assuming zeros for 20 straight years, stays the same, 105. But from a performance-based standpoint, you can see that even the most recent hypothetical illustration on our MLSB strategy is $90,000 higher to the client. So again, using more, getting more for less, taking advantage of these great designs that these insurance companies have come up with, and believing in the crediting strategies that are out there and the performance of the FIAs can give that consumer an opportunity to see a substantial amount more in income. And quite frankly, in this scenario, I think the numbers were about 1.6 is what we would need in order to match that leading GLWB over a 20-year time frame. So, Scott, that's a quick overhaul. Most importantly to me, I want to make sure that you guys understand conceptually the 200-100. So like Scott had said earlier, we'll open it up for questions at the end. There's one other thing that I'm going to go through, but before I do, I want to point this out. We'll open it up at the end. But the reality is, what I would suggest that you do is take an example of a client that you have or that you've been working on and call your marketer at IMES and have them run you an illustration, just if nothing else, to compare it to this, to compare it to what we've created with this Power Select Plus income with the Lifetime Income Plus multiplier. We think it's extremely competitive. We think with the inflation that takes place, as well as people living longer, if we can get them more income for less, we've won. There's never a wrong solution, in my opinion. And you guys and gals are the ones working with the consumer on a daily basis, and you know their needs. But certainly we've seen a lot of sales take place where a portion of the assets go into a performance-based income as well as a guaranteed income rider, which we have as well. So ask Scott or any of the other fine folks at IMES about that if you'd like. What we wanted to focus on today is our changes to our performance-based income rider, because it's really, really attractive from a consumer standpoint and from a competitive standpoint. Excuse me. Okay, one of the other things that we talk about that we'll be real brief on is the belief in safe accumulation in the products that we design. Our Power Select Builder is our #1 selling product, and part of the reason is because of simplicity. Just taking a look at asset performance this century, you can see the numbers up there. U.S. stocks, international stocks, and bonds, but there's a couple things I want to point out here. It's extremely important that we pick the right time to retire, right? I mean, unfortunately, what happens is we see some people who happen to want to retire in, November of 2008, or they hit the wrong time. So what this is a chart of the S&P performance over the last 10 years. You can see that the S&P is up 60.26% over that time frame. However, if we look deeper, trying to make sure that we retire at the right time can be somewhat difficult. Every red arrow there you see indicates a 5% drop in the S&P over that same time frame. So utilizing the right time to retire, as we all know, is almost impossible, but giving them the opportunity to have some sort of a performance base throughout their retirement to where their income actually has the ability to increase is something, I don't want to say new to the industry, but definitely different, and something that, in my opinion, we haven't picked up on well enough as an industry. So retiring at the right time becomes extremely difficult, but giving that consumer the ability to see that retirement income grow throughout the retirement is what we tried to accomplish with this specific product. When we talk about market volatility since 1900, there's been 391 dips of 5% or more, which is roughly 3.4 per year. A 10% correction has happened almost once a year, and then a total bear market of 20% or more has happened roughly every 3.6 years. And as we are all well aware, we have not seen one since 2008. So I think it's safe to say that we're long overdue. Again, why I think that our industry provides an incredible product for a consumer with the protection of the downside risk. Combination growth potential with the power of zero, it's specifically what we just talked about. All the ups, not all the, the upside potential opportunities, limited to caps and spreads and things such as that is certainly a trade-off to take away all those downside risks. That's important to point out as well. What I want to show you here real quick, and then we'll open it up for questions, Scott, is our quick illustration of our Power Select Builder utilizing the MLSB strategy. As you can see here, this is our favorable. We never recommend selling off the favorable. It just shows you what it can accomplish. You can see over a 10-year time frame, the best 10 years from 94 to 2004 with an effective yield of 1073. That means $100,000 becomes $257, which is very competitive. The other thing that I like to point out is is our unfavorable period, which is the worst 10-year time frame, 1998 to 2008, as you can see right here in the illustration software system. That takes into consideration the crash of early 2000s as well as 2008. With this strategy, which I think it's important, again, that you talk with your folks at ARMS about the simplicity around the MLSB and what it can accomplish, you can still see that the worst case scenario is 5.52, turning $100,000 into $168,000 over that specific time frame. One of the things that we've started focusing on a little bit more here is diversification with our own within our own product. We've got two different S&P strategies, as well as our volatility control strategy in the MLSB, both 1 and 2 year. We've recently added a cat strategy to the MLSB as well. But when we break it up and split it a little bit, like anyone would with most of their assets, we see a different result. We see that over the 20-year time frame, that our highest number is 1021, our lowest 57 basis points, and the average credited interest rate over that time frame is just short of 5%. But what's more important to us as we think about this philosophically is that this gives us the ability to show the consumer a return every year. If the S&P is up, that doesn't necessarily mean that volatility control strategies are going to be up as well. And if the S&P is down, maybe the volatility control strategies can get some credits. So we've been working pretty hard on putting together some marketing pieces that give us the ability to show the importance of diversification within the individual annuity product here, and that's just pointing out that feature as well. Okay, one of the things that also becomes very important to us as we look at this, and I mentioned this earlier and wanted to cover it, we're under the belief that if a consumer doesn't know right now, if your client doesn't know today when their retirement date is, or when they're ready to start taking income, or if the asset that you're looking at for them is something that they're going to need to take income from, our recommendation has always been to not put them into a product that charges an income rider fee. Okay, that kind of even goes directly at what we just talked about in the beginning. But again, that goes back to our focus on being competitive in early income. So what I've done here is I've ran an illustration to show you a 60-year-old deferring for 5 years. As I mentioned earlier, that number is actually 7,628, the highest GLWB in the industry. So that becomes their number for as long as they live, right? This is a favorable scenario, but as you can see here, we'll blow it up here in just a second. We can match that with a safe accumulation type of product and still get them the 7,628 that they were looking at getting, providing them with 45,000, almost 46,000 cumulative income, and then at the end of the contract anniversary, there's still 209,000 remaining. Now that's on a favorable scenario, which I want to point out, but even more so, more competitively, if we focus on the unfavorable scenario, you'll see we did the exact same thing. Take the highest guaranteed living withdrawal benefit for a 60-year-old deferring 5 years. We'll match it with free withdrawals of roughly $7,700 or $7,600. Accomplish the exact same thing. At the end, again, this is on the unfavorable scenario, we have roughly $22,500 more than what we started with. In our minds here at Market Synergy Group, when we design product, we like to focus on early income scenarios for those consumers who know they're ready to retire today or within the next couple of years. And then our philosophy goes to, if they don't know and they're looking for safe accumulation, as I mentioned, we have $22,000 more than what we started with, and we've taken $45,000 out in this scenario. Our opinion is our industry will continue to be innovative, and we're going to have the ability to take that consumer 10 years from now and put them into a solution that best fits them at the time. So again, focusing on whether or not they need income right now, quite frankly, being a little blunt here, I think our industry has gone to the GLWBs because they were a little easier to sell when interest rates dropped and crediting strategies became more difficult to talk about. But the reality is not every consumer needs a guaranteed living withdrawal benefit. And those that don't, we have an excellent solution with, for them with our builder product, which is safe accumulation, utilizing free withdrawals, getting them to the finish line, if you will, to their retirement days when they're ready to start pumping out the income. We feel like there's a better opportunity if we do it this way for those longer term deferrals. So Scott, I know I went quick, but I know everybody's busy. I wanted to make sure that everyone was at least briefed on the multiplier, talk a little bit about our builder product, which is 65 to 70% of our business, simply using safe accumulation and free withdrawals if needed. And that's really all I wanted to cover. And then most importantly, I want to make sure that everybody on the line calls somebody in your office and at least gives us an opportunity to run an illustration for them and see where we could fit into their product portfolio.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jared. I know it was condensed, but it's a great presentation. What I'm going to do is take control back, and then we do have a few questions that came in. So once I get control, I'll get those bounced off you. Before we bounce any questions off of Jared, I wanted everybody to be aware I'm going to launch our final poll of the day. And in this polling question, I'm going to ask you if you want to see more information about these proprietary products and if you'd like contracting from AIG. If you click yes, you'll get an automated email from us that will have product descriptions as well as licensing. So that poll will be up while we go through the questions. So we do appreciate everyone's participation here. Jared, we covered two products there. So I'm going to try and do the best I can to compartmentalize the questions. And where I want to start is on the multiplier. I had a specific question come in. How's the multiplier stacking up in the 10-year deferral space? It looks like we've got a guy working a specific case where the client would want to defer 10 years, but they want to be a little more aggressive with their income, I think.
Sure. So I'll be blunt with you again. From a 10-year perspective, from a performance-based income perspective, I don't believe, and I could be wrong, I haven't seen anything that can beat us in 10-year deferrals and longer. Now, what most likely another carrier will tell you is the guarantee is going to be a little bit less, but if you have a consumer who has a small portion of their assets and they're looking to get more for less, as I mentioned, from the performance-based income standpoint, even utilizing our most unfavorable scenarios, I don't think that there's anything out there that's beating us right now. When you take advantage of that 200%, for instance, if you use the MLSB strategy from an illustration perspective, as you can see, we went through that earlier, our unfavorable is 5.5%. So that's essentially equivalent of 11% roll up for that 10-year time frame, which is very, very competitive. Then in addition to that, what makes it more competitive is that it still has the ability to grow once you do turn on that income.
Absolutely. It, here on the IMO side of the business, we run a lot of comparative illustrations for you guys out there. We don't have, and we're not seeing a better participating or performance-based income product right now than what AIG is offering. So I completely agree with what Jared said. 10-year space, it's going to be very, very competitive. I'm not sure how to ask this, so I'm going to do this fairly vaguely, Jared, if we can't get into it. Completely understood. Guy who has I'm assuming they have a contract with a direct competitor of yours that is performance-based income based on a 10-year deferral. Do you know how you'd stack up against them specifically?
Yes. And with 10-year deferral, I know exactly who you're referring to.
Okay.
Again, I ran a couple of situations or had a couple of those illustrations sent to me. Again, Scotty, you know me, and you've known me for 10 years, being very blunt. We will start higher than them. We will be higher than them to life expectancy, but with the way that product works, if you run it out to age 100, they're going to catch us cumulatively at around age 87. So hopefully that was specific enough to help you with the answer to that question. The performance of that product is a little bit different in the fact that you actually see a great question, because I also want to point out that our income growth does stop once the accumulation value equals zero, whereas theirs doesn't. So if you live to be 105, the numbers are going to look better for them. If you want to take it to life expectancy or maybe even a few years beyond, that's about the time they will catch us from an overall income perspective. Cumulatively, we'll still be beating them by a pretty good amount, generally speaking, depending on the age in which they elect it. And then again, with the ability to see theirs continue to grow once the account value is at zero, at some point they will catch us, but generally speaking, it's beyond age 95. So hopefully that helps.
That does. And to the individual that asked that question, if you'd like to do a direct side-by-side comparison, give me a call. Be more than happy to run that for you in that scenario. Big question here, big umbrella question. Will AIG American General in the Power Select series continue to accept qualified funds, Jared?
Certainly. I assume that question comes from the DOL fiduciary rule, and absolutely. I mean, that's obviously the largest portion of our business, and we're going to have no issues with that. Pretty minor changes come Monday, which is June 9th, as everybody is well aware. A few changes to the owner's acknowledgement with an attestation, making sure that you've indicated your commission, as well as no misleading statements. Other than that, we'll be moving forward business as usual.
Absolutely. If you want to have a specific conversation about what AIG American General has put on the table with what Jared just mentioned, just give us a call. We've been in contact with Jared and his team over the last couple of years in regard to this, but specifically over the last 3-4 weeks on what they're going to need, what their operations are going to be. So we're really familiar with it here at IMES. We can certainly walk you through it. And AIG American General's approach to this is going to be one of the least painless in our industry. So very simple procedure, and it will be business as usual come Friday, come Monday, whenever you want to work with qualified funds. I'm going to shift in our compartment over to the builder now, Jared. Specific question about the MLSBI. Just looking for a little clarity. Can you talk a little bit about how the Merrill Lynch strategy works, what it is, why it might be a better indice to utilize than any of the other, exotic indices that are out there?
Sure. I'll spend a few moments on that. And the key to the MLSB is really its simplicity. There's some great crediting strategies out there, so I don't want to take away anything from anybody with the designs that they've done. What we focused on with Merrill Lynch was to try and keep it as simple as possible. So there's really two components to the MLSB: the S&P 500 and the Merrill Lynch Treasury Futures. So essentially, what we're trying to accomplish is to capture a portion of the S&P, as well as getting what the most recent, if you will, 10-year Treasury rates are. The way the strategy works is it's 3-month near maturity futures on the 10-year Treasury rate. So the idea, the concept behind it is to follow the 10-year Treasury rate as close as possible for the 10-year term of the contract. So conceptually, to kind of dumb it down, if you will, for simplified answers, and then we can, Scott can get into it with more details with whoever had that question. But if the 10-year Treasury at roughly 220, I think it dropped a little bit today, 214 last I checked. But let's use 2 as an example and make it simple. We're trying to accomplish getting that 2% on top of the S&P portion that we have. Now, I will tell you that it's more heavily allocated into the fixed income asset class, because the concept is to be consistent throughout the term of the contract. So this is really kind of a singles and doubles type of approach as opposed to a home run. We're trying to get 4 to 6% every single year if possible. It's not going to happen every single time, but there are going to be some 8s and 10s, and there's certainly going to be some 0s. But the idea and the concept behind it is every consumer knows what the S&P 500 is, and most of them are going to know what 10-year Treasury rates are as well. So if we can get a combination of the two of those and simplify it into a volatility-controlled strategy, we think it makes the story for you a little bit easier to tell. And again, it's something that's been around for a long, long time. So it's not like we're throwing in a bunch of different indices and combining them and chasing, which I think, it's just a different design. Some crediting strategies out there are looking for home runs that will be followed up by, some lower numbers. And ours is designed to be very consistent. 4 to 6 annualized return over the 10-year time frame, I think, is realistic. We're really trying to hit somewhere between 2 and 8% every single year. So hopefully that helped.
That does. And that being said, Jared, that brings me to the end of our questions. So looks like we're going to be pretty efficient today and get everybody back to work in about 45 minutes. I want to thank you for your time, Jared. I know it's a busy time down there, so we do appreciate it. Any parting words for the group?
The only thing I would add is just give us an opportunity. You know, IMS is one of our business partners and has been for a long, long time with Market Synergy for the last 3 years plus. But the reality is we're still an exclusive distribution company, and there's less than 3,000 agents across the whole United States who have access to sell this product. There can obviously be more, but at this point we're at about 3,000 contracted agents. And I know for you out there who are competing every single day with, for a consumer, when you run across something that not everybody has, it puts you in a pretty strong position. Right now, we're as competitive as we've ever been, and we would just look forward to the opportunity to earn some of your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jared makes a great point on the limited distribution. We are lucky and proud to be one of the very exclusive group that is allowed to distribute this product line. And we would certainly love to earn your business with this product line and help you to have a leg up on your competition. So that being said, if you want that leg up, go ahead and click yes on the polling question before we close down, and we'll get that product and licensing information out to you. Other than that, I do want to thank you all very, very much for your time. I know 45 minutes out of your day is 45 minutes where you're not out closing sales or creating new client meetings, so we do greatly appreciate it. That being said, go out and have a great sales day, everyone, and I look forward to speaking with you very, very soon. Thank you very much. Have a great sales day.